such as the position of Buddhism in the world today. This book is my best effort to provide that background, to offer a well-rounded account of Buddhism for intelligent listeners from many different backgrounds. Although I certainly can't claim to know everything about Buddhism, I have been fascinated by it for much of my life, studying as many dimensions of this tradition as possible while writing books and essays about particular aspects of it. I've been teaching college students the basics of Buddhism for almost 4 decades, mostly at Occidental College in Los Angeles, where I have spent much of my career, but occasionally by invitation from Asian and other Western universities. In other words, there is a sense in which I've been writing this book for most of my life without ever knowing it. So when Oxford University Press invited me to author a book in this series, I knew the time had come to accept the challenge to compose a cogent, user-friendly introduction to Buddhism. Before beginning, you may want to ask whether I am a Buddhist. The honest answer is, I'm not sure. But this much is clear. If you study something that interests you with an open mind for a very long time, it will surely seep into you. You will be affected by it. It will change who you are, at least to some degree. In fact, from the very outset, that was my hope, even a commitment that I made to myself. I would seek to learn both about Buddhism and from it. While learning everything I could about what Buddhism was and is, I would allow it to influence my own way of life whenever that seemed desirable or wise. That's the point of the great wisdom traditions of the world. There is much to learn from them to the benefit of us all. Given this commitment, when I study Buddhism, I ask myself what of value I can learn from it. And when Buddhists explained that their way of thinking on these important human matters can be fully understood only in tandem with the practice of meditation, I took their word for it and engaged in this practice. I visit Buddhist people and Buddhist temples all over the world whenever I can, and ask myself what can be learned from them. I suspect that sounds very Buddhist, but I've never been initiated or officially accepted as a Buddhist. No individual serves as my guru or teacher, and no particular sect of Buddhism recognizes me as one of their own. I'm not a monk nor a temple member, nor have I taken vows or anything of an official Buddhist nature. So, am I a Buddhist? I still don't know. But for the purposes of this book, I'm perfectly willing to let you decide. 2 points before we begin. One is that, like other books in this series, this book is organized from beginning to end in question and answer format. This inquiry-based structure fits the topic very well. A number of Buddhist scriptures were composed in dialogue style, disciples posing questions to the Buddha, and the Buddha teaching by putting questions directly back to them in order to encourage their own independent reflection. Still, this aspect of the book may seem somewhat one-sided. I do both the asking and the answering. In each case, however, these questions are derived from those that students have been asking me for years. Very often their curiosity has been right on target, but sometimes it takes some persuasion from me. Here is what you should be asking if you want to learn what you need to know to have a functional overall understanding of Buddhism. A second point related to the first is that many choices have been made to prevent the book from swelling in size to become a burden on the listener. Many topics, important Buddhist people, places, teachings, practices, are not included here. Some of these are just as interesting as what did get included. Judgment calls in these cases were inevitable and could have easily gone in other directions. This book is therefore truly an introduction, a basic overview that aims to cover just enough to provide a solid working account of the whole of Buddhism. For those who would like to probe further, suggestions for further reading are included at the end. But there are other ways to go further in understanding. There are Buddhist communities, temples, and meditation centers virtually everywhere in the world, and a visit to almost any of these would be an excellent way to take a step beyond what everyone needs to know. But first, here's what you need to know. 1. Origins and Early History.